Okay, we're doing this book here, Prevent and Reverse Obesity. We're on part number 4. So we're starting, I think, on about page 32. No, it's a little more than that. We're on page 34. Okay, so this is a drawing of the dog going outside, and the person sprayed their grass with the herbicide. And these are sometimes sprayed with atrazine. That's what they spray on the non-organic corn. And then some of these people, like my ex-wife, will allow the dog in the bed. Okay, so the dog's rolling around in the atrazine on the grass, and then it comes in the bed. Okay, at the old house, which was my house, I was in charge of the grass, and I would cut it with a push mower. I didn't like the gas mower because it's too loud, or electric mower too loud, so I would just push it, physical strength mower. And, you know, it did kind of a crappy job. I didn't remove all the dandelions. So my wife would yell at me that I have the worst lawn of anyone in the subdivision. We're going to be fined by the subdivision, kicked out of the subdivision. I'm an asshole. I'm autistic. I'm a jerk. And then, you know, got all the kids saying, oh, Dad, you know, you've ruined our grass. Our house is an embarrassment. Our friends won't come over because you're ruining the grass. And then they all still came over. But anyways, that's what happened. And then the dog, she let this little hairless dog sleep with its butt in her face because it felt like a baby. I'm like, well, why don't we have another kid? But anyways, you shouldn't spray your grass because those things are toxic, and you shouldn't let your dog roll in that grass and then sit with its butt in your face. That's not a good idea. Okay? All right, we go to the next page here. Oh, I won't even tell that joke. I put a lot of jokes in my books that I'm almost too embarrassed to say. I don't know. They seem funny when I'm writing. I kind of write like in a stream of consciousness and trying to have fun. Okay, this is the work of Tyrone Hayes. This is the black guy at Harvard, Tyrone Hayes. He wrote this paper here. Atrazine induces complete feminization and chemical castration in male African frogs. It turns the male frog into a female frog. And this is what they spray on your food. Okay, this is what they spray on all the GMO corn. And that's what makes high fructose corn syrup, and that goes into a lot of corn products, okay? And so this is a black guy at a scholarship to Harvard, okay? And then, so when he actually writes a good paper, so he's not just affirmative action phony who doesn't belong there. This guy did a great piece of work here, okay? Nobel Prize potential material. So what do? Do you think they award him? Do you think they celebrate diversity? No, they try to discredit him, to fire him, to take away all his funding and ruin his career, okay? And you should know that. Whenever somebody does something good to help you, the pros, they put their career in danger because the system does not like you. It hates your guts. If they're poisoning your food and poisoning your water, do you think they like you? This is rule number 1 of thinking. Learn who likes you and who doesn't like you. Somebody who poisons your food, that means they don't like you, okay? And then the university system, the Harvard University system, instead of celebrating this guy, they screw him over. They try to ruin his career. That's what happens to people when they make real legitimate achievements and tell the truth to the public. They get their careers attacked, destroyed. Okay? He stuck to it. He said, no, I had all this education and training so I could do something good. I want to do something good, and I'm telling the truth about this. Okay? And here's some of the lines in the paper. Atrazine is a potent endocrine disruptor in just parts per billion. Okay, so why do you think they want that on the corn, the GMO corn? And they spray it on other things too, grasses. That's why I don't play golf. They spray it on some golf courses and stuff because they're feminizing everybody. They're sort of like, remember what consilience means. Consilience means one little thing by itself doesn't necessarily prove that is true. But if you have an item, whatever that might be, let's say here's the item. Okay, and one thing points towards it, and another thing points towards it, and another points towards it, and another points towards it, and another points towards it. A whole bunch of small pieces of evidence all point towards the same conclusion, then it's probably true. That's what consilience means. A whole bunch of small streams of evidence pointing towards one conclusion, then it's probably true. And so yeah, it's true. The public is being slowly poisoned with a bunch of different chemicals, including aluminum in the tap water, fluoride in the tap water, soy and flax, and this atrazine stuff, as well as other estrogenic chemicals and personal care products, to feminize them, to make them weak and emotional, and so they'll wimp out and they'll allow the USA to be destroyed. Okay? And they'll put up with things like modern art replacing real art in the museums. All right? Okay, so Tyrone Hayes, he did not back down. He did the right thing and he stuck to it, so he did a great job. Does he deserve a Nobel Prize? Yeah. Will he get it? Probably not. He's not in any of the books. Okay, here's another one. Parabenzoic acids, parabens as they are called. So that relates to the position on the aromatic ring here. So this is a 6-carbon ring with 3 double bonds. That's called a benzene. And these are the positions relative to the first substituent group. Okay? So this is a OIC. So this would be benzene with an OIC carboxylic acid. So it's a benzoic acid. And then you have things in different positions. The position at I drew a face on here like a nose. What would be the eyes is the ortho position. What would be an M for mustache is the M position. And what's opposite the original group there is the para position, like a beard hanging down from the chin. So these are called parabenzoic acids, and they're great preservatives. So this is the phenol group, the aromatic ring, 3 double bonds on the cyclohexane there. And the phenol group, the hydroxyl group coming off it, that makes it a phenol. All right, and that's also characteristic of the phenol and estrogen. So it binds to estrogen receptors. They make great preservatives because the benzene ring confers shelf life stability for years. The hydroxyl group makes it antimicrobial, prevent mold growth, etc. And this is in tons of deodorants and other personal care products. And people put these things on. They shave their armpits and they get both the aluminums in the deodorant and they get the parabenzoic acids. And then they wonder why they have a high incidence of breast cancer in the upper outer quadrant. That's like 60% of breast cancers there. So deodorant is for chumps. You walk in a room, you say, hey, how you doing? You don't sniff each other's armpits, okay? By the time somebody does that, that means they like you. They're not worried about what you smell like. I think deodorant is a sign of a low IQ to wear deodorant. Okay, that you're conformist and you're worried, what will somebody think of how I smell? Nobody cares how you smell. Nobody cares about you. Okay, let's see. You should always filter your water. Minimize your use of these personal care products. They're highly, highly overrated. Okay, I've talked about water filters before. Well, I've also said if I ever get canceled on this channel, I'll just go to the other video channels. I'm here for now because it's, has the best software. Oh, then I went through, okay, I put a lot of jokes in my books. Like I go through like, why do women have big butts? Okay, what that's all about is basically it's an economically energy efficient place to store their omega-3s. And omega-3s are important for the baby during development to fluidize the plasma membranes of your neurons in your brain and in your retina. Your retina is really like your eyeballs, like a continuation of your brain. Okay, and what I said too, evolution sort of makes the shape of a woman. So a healthy young woman has an hourglass figure, and that narrow waist tells you she's not pregnant, okay? And the relatively big hip and butts tell you she's healthy and fertile, and you could have a baby with her, okay? Because a man can't help it. When a man walks past women, he doesn't even think about it. It's not conscious. It's like subconscious. His brain says yes or no. Would you sleep with her? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Your brain just does it. You don't do it on purpose, okay? And so she's like a peacock, I am fertile. It's like this big announcement. And the reason is like for a guy, in terms of approaching women, why men don't want to sleep with fat women, is because in a man's mind, something primitive, biological, and instinctual tells him never sleep with a fat woman. That, she's already pregnant or she's postmenopausal grandma and she can't give you a baby. So why risk approaching her and getting humiliated or having her brother, her dad, or father, her boyfriend, or husband kick your ass? Okay, so it just says, no way. So your brain just says, no way. Okay, but we like women more than they like us. I was walking down the hallway many, many, many years ago with one of my friends, and there's a real pretty lady walking down the hallway, and I said to my friend, gosh, I'd give half my salary to have her in my bed. My friend goes, oh no, she would want a lot more than that. And I thought to myself, what a ripoff, that we like them so much more than they like us that I'd have to give up half my salary just to have her in my bed. And on top of that, my wife ended up taking more than that. So that's the kind of deal we get. And people are like, oh, well, you're both doctors. Yeah, right. Okay. Anyways, also she's got a wider pelvis to deliver a baby. Women got little tiny shoulders. And that's because they don't need big shoulders. Because in our ancestors, they always worried about starving to death, okay? And, she just needs to be able to control the boys until they hit puberty and they're relative to go with the men, okay? That's all the physical strength she needs, okay? Yeah, women don't have the same physical strength of men, not even close. On the internet, they're always, filming all these female bodybuilders on testosterone. Real women are pretty weak, okay? Their strength comes from their skill at manipulating men, their intelligence and stuff. It don't come from their biceps, okay? Let's see, and they also got no hair, which is maybe a display of no parasites, okay? Oh, and then the other joke is, we're humans created by God or in the image of God. And I said my family was created in the image of God, but my ex-wife's family might have evolved from apes, a chimp-like ancestor. Okay, and then, I think we're going to end this session today on a thoughtful note. And I think it's time for the impotence prayer for our less fortunate. Okay, our Father, because many people reverse their impotence when they go on a low-fat vegan diet, but let's just give a quick prayer for these poor guys. Our Father, who art in boner land, solid wood be thy name. Give us this day our daily boner, and forgive us our dietary sins, as we forgive those who misdiet against us. And lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from impotence. Amen. Okay, and so, Jesus Christus came into the room, and Lazarus went vegan, and his Johnson came back to life. So let's end that for today on a good note.